Hey guys, Brian Hilliard here, author of the best-selling book Networking Like a Pro and creator of the popular program How to Ethically Attract Higher Paying Clients Without Being Pushy or Salesy. Now today we are continuing our conversation about how you can ethically attract higher paying clients even when you're stuck at home, because for a lot of people, let's just face it, we're working from home, we're dealing with situations out there in the world, we're dealing with stuff that at a community and state and province and country level that we haven't seen since the 1918 pandemic. I don't know if that was here in the United States, actually. I saw that on television. I don't know if that was here just in the United States or if that was worldwide. But anyway, the point is that this is a big, big issue. And for a lot of people, we have to, figure this out. Our business just can't roll over, right? We want to have a business. I don't know about you, but I want to have a business that I can come back to when it's all said and done. So we're talking a little bit about what you can do to obviously ethically attract clients even when you're stuck at home. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, I've already mentioned this before if you haven't seen it, we talked about webinars, okay? And I wanted to kind of deep dive into that a little bit for some folks who maybe haven't done a webinar in the past, maybe aren't familiar with what that looks like or how to do it. So I wanted to go over like a few things, maybe like 4 or 5 things that we can kind of cover real quick to keep in mind, all right? So the first thing to keep in mind is that a webinar is not a miniaturized presentation. When I did that, I thought it was. That's not the case. A webinar is obviously where you have some slides, you're doing a screen share. It is something where you're moving at a fast pace. We'll talk about that in a second. It is not a miniaturized presentation, so you got to get that out of your head. It's a separate animal entirely. Okay, second point, and this comes from Amy Porterfield. If you haven't had a chance to see some of her good stuff, Webinars That Convert. I took that course maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4, yeah, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, actually. Really, really good. One of the things, this is point number 2, one of the things that she talks about is that you want to have slides. She wants to have a conversation where you have slides every 30 seconds. To me, that was aggressive. I was going to have like 100 slides for a 60-minute webinar, but I wound up having one every 45 seconds. No question about that. It was something that was, something that you had to keep moving, keep going, keep doing. So you're going to want to have a slide during, pretty aggressive in your slides. All right. Third thing, let's talk about the structure, okay? There's some sections that you want to keep in mind. The first thing is obviously you want a title slide, and this is what Amy says, and I totally agree with it. It's worked for me. A title slide in the first section, and then also letting people know that they're in the right place. She specifically says that you're in the right place if, and what you do is you list the problems or challenges that your constituency is facing, that you believe they're facing. And one of the points that she makes is it allows them to be able to be like, oh yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of buyer's remorse. It's being more proactive with that. And they're like, oh yeah, this is good. So you're in the right place if you, like for example, let's say I'm doing a webinar on ethically attracting clients. You're in the right place if you are trying to get more clients and you've tried some different things and it hasn't worked. You're in the right place if you want to be able to build your practice, but don't want to come across as this pushy salesperson, over the top. You're in the right place. And she actually has 3 slides like that. All right, so that's section 1. Then section 2 gets into where you're talking about what you're going to talk about. So you give like a preview, foreshadow of what you're going to talk about. And then you get into, first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. All right. So like the slides, just to give you a feel, the slides might be 4 or 5 slides of you're in the right place if, and then another 4 or 5 slides talking about you. I did this again at Amy's request, or her suggestion, her recommendation. She says, if you can, go back into the Wayback Machine and get pictures of you that are older so that you can show a progression. That wasn't too hard for me because I've been doing this, since 2001. So I found, I found some pictures when I first got started down in Houston. Me down there. I got one with me and Mark Victor Hansen when he came out to Atlanta. Show a progression, all right? And then transition from section 2 to section 3, where now you're getting into the meat of your deal. That's where you're getting into the training, and that's no problem. All right. In the middle of the training, then you're talking, you're doing your stuff in the middle of section 3, okay? And you only want to have like 3 points. So, if you're going to do like a half hour or 40-minute webinar, or 45-minute webinar, you want to have 3, maybe 4 points so you're not giving away the farm. All right. And then what you also do is you let people know, hey, listen, if you want, we can do a discovery call afterwards. We can chat. We can sit down. You know, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up, if you have like Calendly or something. I have some technological stuff that I personally use, but whatever, you can have something where they can go to your calendar online, bing, bang, boom, you're good to go. So in the third section, halfway through the teaching, you're telling them about that. Then at the end, you know, of your teaching section, you're into section 4, okay? Now you're actually making the official offer. You're saying, listen, you know what? Had some really good stuff. If you have some questions or anything like that, by the way, sorry, you can also answer questions in the middle, by the way. So what you can do is you can have them type out some questions. I just use Zoom. They can type out some questions, do what they need to do, not a problem. You can answer questions in the middle of section 3 as well. I apologize. You can answer questions in the middle of section 3 as well. Then you talk a little bit about how you can deep dive if they want to do a one-on-one call, complimentary. Then you finish up section 3 with the rest of your teaching point. Then you're in section 4, which comes back and says, all right, listen, you know, we've got some good stuff. If you have some more questions, feel free to pop them in. Also, remember, we can do a discovery call. Boom, another slide comes up talking about a discovery call. You're good to go. You're moving. And that's it, okay? You're just kind of wrapping that up. Bing, bang, boom, and you are good to go. If you want to talk more about that, listen, put some stuff down in the comments. We can chat about it. We can set up a time to talk if you want, or you can ask some different questions or whatever, and that is no problem. But in the meantime, I am hoping this makes sense, and I'm hoping this is something that you can see yourself doing even when you're stuck at home. So my name is Brian Hilliard, saying so long, take care, and thanks so much for your time.